Dear students, so far we have discussed about the major duties and responsibilities of business office supervisor. We also talk about knowledge, qualification, abilities, and experience of the business office supervisor, but these informations are not sufficient. We may need to ask several questions about the generic skills of the person, because generic skills are very much important in each and every job. Whether it is a job of a business office supervisor, whether it is a job of an HR manager or financial manager or accountant or a supply chain manager, in any managerial job or non-managerial job, generic skills have a lot of importance. And if some of the students can improve their generic skills, their chances of getting job can be doubled. So we have to talk about some of the generic skills questions which can be asked in the employment interview. So let's talk about the generic questions which can establish the right fit between the person and the job. If you would be able to establish the right fit between the person and the job, it would be great effort for in the employment interview. So let's talk about some of the typical generic questions which can be asked from any type of the candidate. So this is question number 1. Number 1, can you give me your definition of the ideal manager? So this is a generic question. It is not relevant to HR, it is not relevant to finance, it is not relevant to the accounting, it is not relevant to the marketing. You can ask this question from any of the candidate in your organization during an interview. So can you give me your definition of the ideal manager? How about the ideal work environment? So this is another question. What kind of the work environment would be considered as an ideal? So candidates can explain their view on such kind of things. Number 2, what would you like to avoid in future jobs? So there are some kind of issues with every person that they would like to avoid in the jobs. So if you would ask question, it would give confidence to the candidate that the company has a very open environment and they are asking such kind of questions, that what kind of things can be avoided in the future jobs, and it would help persons to establish himself better in the organization. Then there is a number 3 question. From what I have said, combined with what you have read in the job description for this position. So there are 2 things. There are some information which are giving in job description and it is mentioned in the advertisement. And there are some information which were provided by the business manager or the line manager during the interview. So if you would combine both of the things what I have said as a manager and what you have read in the job description, if you would see that what does this job offer that your current job does not provide. So this is a very critical question, but it is very tricky to ask such kind of questions in the employment interview, but it is very helpful and it can give you a very valuable information about the job and about the candidate. And number 4, is there anything your current boss could say that would make you want to stay there? So this is also a question about your previous job. So you can establish the rapport with the candidate and you can get his insight that what kind of things make him to stay in the organization, and you can reduce the employee turnover in your organization. And number 5, how would you describe yourself as an employee? This is a typical generic question. You must ask this question if you are a future HR manager or line manager. Because if someone would help you to explain himself, herself, it would give you the insight of someone's personality. And those insights would help you to establish the right match between the job and the person to whom you are going to hire. So this is important. And number 6, how do you approach tasks that you dislike? My dear students, every task is not liked by everyone. There are different tasks which are not liked by someone in the job. For example, if I am a professor, maybe I am not interested to do research. Research can be my not in like task. So I have to know that if I would approach research, then how I would approach that task, because that task is not my like task, that is my dislike task. So such kind of questions can be asked and it can give you a wonderful insight about the candidate. And number 7, how can you link your current set of skills with your interest in HR? So this is a linkage of your current skills and knowledge and abilities with your interest in the job. some people are interested in HR, but they don't have a sufficient skills about the HR. They don't have a sufficient knowledge. They don't have a sufficient ability. So you can relate the current skills of the persons with the interest of the person in the job. And number 8, what educational or training opportunities are interest to you. So you are just developing a rapport and you just want to identify the need assessment of the training and the qualification. And as an organization, you can help someone in futures to grow and excel in their career as well. And number 9, what do you feel an employer owes an employees? And what about what an employee owes an employer? So this is also tricky question. And number 10, if you could design the dream job, if you are going to design the dream job, what would it be and what would you be doing? So this is about dream jobs. If you would like to establish a dream job, what kind of job it is and what are the jobs which you can really interested to do. So such kind of a generic questions gives you a very wonderful insight about the person and it may help you in your selection decisions.